All right, a very good Saturday morning to you, everyone. Boy, we're having a good time in the studio during the commercial breaks, just yammering back and forth. And so far, no bubbles, and we're still having a good time. Well, we've had plenty of bubbles as far as conversation is concerned on the show, because that is our compass word this hour. And if you're just joining us, you're saying, compass word, huh? We've started something. It's not really new because we've been using it on the television side of things, as we've been producing a television show that's based on a compass word. But it is newly introduced this week on the show. And what we do is we pick one word. This week happens to be the word bubble. And then we schedule our guests related around that. Our first guest this hour was all about the bubbles that are produced when you're baking fantastic bread. Our guest from the last segment, the previous segment, was from Acadia National Park, where they have several bubbles, including a pond, a trail, and a couple of mountains named Bubble. And now this segment, our final segment for the second hour of the Eat, Drink, Explore radio show, is all about the bubbles you might find in Champaign and how those relate to a new diet, the Champaign diet. Cara Leyba joins us. This is all her thinking. Good morning, Cara.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. When I saw your bubble diet on Twitter, I had to laugh out loud, and because I am dieting right now, I thought, that isn't a bad idea. Sign me up. When did you come up with this idea?
Well, I started it. Well, first of all, it's not an actual diet. I should just give that disclaimer. I wish it was. I wish we could just all drink champagne all day and be skinny, but unfortunately, it's not the way it goes.
Right.
But it started a couple of years ago. You know, a friend of mine suggested that, I start drinking champagne. I was looking for a cocktail that was light in calories. She said, oh, drink champagne. It's 100 calories in a flute.
There you go.
So, of course, I said, why not? And I noticed that when I drank it, I was like, oh, I mean, it's so fun to drink. Like,
right.
How could you not love champagne? So
it's an everyday wine, I believe.
Totally. And that's the whole thing. And people really don't see it as that. So I said, such a fun thing. Why should we reserve this for, celebrations and holidays? We should make it a part of our everyday.
Yeah, so. Champagne or sparkling wine has become somewhat reserved for special occasions, but I know, at least among my friends in the studio here, it is any time we're out. It might be something we order on the dinner menu or when we have people over to the house. Champagne is typically, or sparkling wine, mostly the case, is something that we pop open as the starter, and then we might move to the red wines or such. But yeah, I'm in full agreement with you, and I didn't know it's 100 calories per flute. That's like a 100-calorie snack pack.
Exactly. And I would much rather have a glass of champagne than a little bag of Diet cookies. I don't know about you.
Exactly. I like that. Right, because I'm not a big fan of those Diet cookies anyway, so might as well do the champagne. Now, I did notice that you have paired, to some degree, with a location in Pasadena known as Pop Champagne Bar, and they have a champagne diet menu there.
Yes, they do. Bob Earhart is one of the owners. He saw my blog and contacted me, and he thought it was such a cool idea. And, obviously it's a champagne bar, and he has champagne on hand at all times. And he was trying to get healthy and lose weight. So, he started eating healthier and making, some light things on the menu. He worked with this chef to kind of develop some of the things off of some of my own recipes. So we collaborated. And, they have a side of the menu that's a little bit lighter, and it's paired with a glass of champagne. So it's been a hit. People are liking it.
I like that. So essentially, you reduce the calories of your meal a bit.
Yep.
We had a guest on last hour who has a new, you should check it out for sure. It's called thindish.com, and there's an app coming out with that as well, where you can take a picture of your food and find out how many calories are in it. It's very...
Oh, that's great.
It's fantastic. And so what he was basically saying is all the meals that they promote via the website are about 600 calories or less. Do you know where the menu items at Pop Champagne Bar fall in the calorie version?
It's somewhere around there. He actually has it listed next to the item, so I think you're able to tell when you go in there, and it's also online on their website.
Oh, good.
And Bob lost 33 pounds doing this, so it works.
Really?
Yeah.
So that is great. Instead of ordering a dessert or instead of having a big, heavy meal, you reduce the calories of your food intake and then pair that with a 100-calorie glass of champagne, and that, in essence, is your champagne diet.
Exactly. And, you're not going to have one glass every night. On the weekends, you might have a little bit more and you splurge, but it's a guideline.
Yeah, it is a good guideline. No, I like that. And according to all of the health stories that we read on a weekly basis here during our news segments at Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, time and time again, you hear 1 to 2 glasses of wine, or in this case, sparkling wine per day, is sort of for ultimate health. Drink if you don't drink at all, or if you drink too much, that is less healthy than having 1 to 2 glasses per day.
That's what they say, and I'm going with it.
I'm going with it, too. I like that. Now, you don't just have the champagne diet. You also have the champagne diary, right?
That's the blog, yes.
That's the blog. And then what sort of things do you list there?
So that's really just an extension of the whole brand, the Champagne Diet brand. And it's really not just about dieting. Obviously, it's about living your best life and celebrating everything and really accepting yourself for what you are. And, I'm also a life coach, so it kind of ties into that whole theme. And it's just really about embracing life and enjoying yourself. So that's kind of what the blog does. And, occasionally there are some things on the blog that are about champagne, but it's sort of this whole, all-encompassing sort of lifestyle.
Yeah. We need to pair up because that's pretty much what we do here. It's exactly the same, yes. Enjoying life as best we can and enjoying the wonderful things that there's food, wine, travel. There's so much for us to enjoy here in the United States. Now, on the East Coast, I know there's much more of a tendency to drink true champagne because you're that much closer to France. Here on the West Coast, we have an abundance of fantastic sparkling wines. Now, your diet is called the Champagne Diet, but how do you feel about calling a sparkling wine a champagne when it's not from that region of France? We had that discussion earlier on the show.
Yeah, I try not to because I know people are sticklers about it. I call everything bubbly. I think that's just easier and it's more fun.
And fits into our keyword.
A bottle of bubbly.
Compass word, sorry.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So it just eliminates any of the, the whole debate between champagne and sparkling wine. I think for me, I love a good French champagne. I love a sparkling wine from California, so it's bubbly, it's fun, and for me, that's just kind of, all that really counts. Because
it's such a large part of your persona, I'm wondering if you have some favorites you can share with us, either in the bargain category or maybe like the Veuves of the world.
Yeah.
Do you have, what are your go-to bubbles, right, when you go out to a nice dinner or even just a relaxing sort of sit on the couch at home?
Well, I love Moet. That's just my ultimate favorite. Just Moet, classic Moet is the best for me.
It's delicious.
If I'm going to go with the French champagne, which is a little bit more pricey, and if I'm going to a champagne bar, in New York, that's probably what I'll order. But there are a ton of fun sparkling wines from California that I've been into recently. There's one called Le Grand Courtage, which is great, and it's actually a combination of French winemakers and winemakers from California who have come together to make this really delicious, fruity, light, sparkling wine. There's also another one called Bel Air Bellini, which I love. It's actually a Bellini in a bottle, so it's natural peach essence infused into sparkling wine.
Okay, my co-host, Patti Piburn here, just lit up like a Christmas tree because
She loves it.
she takes frozen peaches, Cara, and puts them in during the summertime and puts them in her glass of sparkling wine or champagne to keep it cold and to sort of give it that peach infused essence.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It is, huh?
Gotta try that this weekend.
And sometimes you can put a little splash of like a peach liqueur as well in there to give it that extra, zing.
Yeah, make it a little cocktail.
Right. Exactly. Well, Cara Leyba, with the Champagne Diet, we have linked all of your information to the Eat, Drink, Explore website so people can easily find it that way, and I highly recommend they follow you on Twitter as well. What's your Twitter ending?
Champagne Diet.
Champagne Diet. So
easy enough.
Yeah, easy enough. Cara, you make it a great rest of your day, okay?
Thank you so much. You guys too.
All right. So this hour was brought to you by Eberly Winery, where you will always find complimentary wine tasting, located on Highway 46 East in Paso Robles. Just log on to eberlywinery.com. That is EBERLE winery.com. And you can hear all of our segments, if you missed any of them from this week or even previous weeks, online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Plus, we provide links to all of our guest websites, like the one we just had. Don't forget to download our smartphone or tablet device apps via the Apple Store or Google Play if you have an Android device. And thank you to our show's producers, Cora Adama, Anthony Renaro, and Ricardo Teodosio, and also Mr. Curtis Cole and Nicole Powers for bringing us the news, and Patti Piburn for anchoring it. Thank you so much to everyone who makes Eat, Drink, Explore a reality. Make it a great Saturday, everyone. We'll catch up with you next week right here, same time.